Nitin, fantastic to meet you. If you could just start off by just introducing yourself and your journey in working in the supply chain and sustainability space. Obviously, you're representing Capgemini today.
Brilliant. So, Nitin Dsouza, I am the Capgemini Intelligent Industry Vice President, and I have multiple hats, and one is on supply chain, and the other one's on engineering, both hardware and software. And in terms of what my teams do, so they work across nuclear, energy, consumer retail, and also into aerospace. So quite a broad range of clients that we work with. My journey into supply chain, I studied industrial and industrial engineering, and then I looked at as in I studied supply chain engineering, and I started my career in the world of RFID. And as I said on the stage, it was around the fact that I wrote the first wave of RFID and it crashed very quickly. Effectively, yeah, that was my ticket to billions. It never came. And then, as in, I've been very lucky to work in some of the most complex supply chain areas. Global S&OP linking 40, 50 ERPs at a factory level, down at country level, then moving into global level, and as in optimizing for various things, both from cost, sustainability, carbon emissions. So I think that was an exciting part of my journey. And lastly, I think I've been part of the digital supply chain journey. And way back in 2013-14, I started talking about digital supply chain as social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. And interestingly, my LinkedIn was at that point in time LinkedIn/IN/digital supply chain. You would land on my page, and now as in LinkedIn/IN/agentic, agentic supply chain, you'll land on my page. So it's been exciting in the digital landscape, and fundamentally, I think in terms of taking the clients from what was as in a weekly inventory updates to daily inventory updates to subsequent inventory updates is fascinating. Taking clients from as in working on hundreds of millions of records, gigabytes of data to terabytes and petabytes of data, trillions of data points a day has been fascinating. So it's been an exciting journey for me. And where I sit at this point in time, I'm focused on AI, digital, energy systems and physical systems. I sit at the confluence of that. So.
Could you take us, Nitin, through mentioned your session you just come from, your keynote. Could you just give us a bit of a rundown as to sort of the main points you were discussing?
Perfect. So the key hypothesis of that session is that as in, are we entering into the age of agentic? Fundamentally, as in where we've come from the 80s to the 2000s, we talk about lean agile era where the companies like Toyota and Walmart came around and scaled up. Then as in you come into the world of digital, wherein as in you have compute, cloud, and you have the companies like Amazon and Shane and the likes come across. And that's leveraging the power of digital technologies. And along that way, you move away from a demand-driven supply chain to a customer-driven supply chain to intent-driven supply chain, which is what Shane is. And at this point in time, what we see in the market is there's a lot of buzz around agents, AI agents, Gen AI. And our hypothesis is that at this point in time, people are moving away from digital and talking about agents into their supply chain. It's very nascent, and are we seeing the early stage of the dawn of the agentic era? So that was the whole hypothesis of the topic that I spoke about.
So that's the hypothesis. Is 2025 then the year of agentic AI? We've had a year or maybe 2 years, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in the know of Gen AI. Is 2025 the year we move to agentic AI being the real hot topic?
I think as a topic, definitely. From a noise, definitely. From the marketing, definitely. And from the tech bros in San Francisco, yeah, I think it is definitely the age of agentic. The challenge for supply chains is what do you do with that? And with Gen AI, it was a thing where everybody talked about Gen AI is the new fancy shiny thing. And not every shiny thing is gold, as I keep saying. And I think in agentic, I think there is a couple of years before we start realizing the full value. There is immediate value to be realized in the areas of documents, in the areas of text-based queries. And I think in terms of research, going onto the web and summarizing it. And I think as in those sort of low-hanging fruits in the supply chain, yes, definitely. But again, the other topic that I spoke about was in supply chains, we call it the blend AI. You got the traditional AI, optimization, planning, prediction. All those algorithms currently are more sophisticated than the reinforcement learning algorithms. So that is not going to change. So you'll have, for the longest time, a blend of AI with agentic in one hand and the traditional on the other hand.
One of the things that's obviously cropped up in terms of making that investment in Gen AI is that initial cost pressure on businesses. Is it sort of the same story with agentic AI? How would you maybe advise businesses to balance the initial cost pressure of investing in agentic AI or Gen AI and the sustainability benefits in the long run? That's obviously one of the reasons we're here today on the sustainability side of things. How can companies maybe strike the right balance?
So I think another thing that I spoke about in the event was around the fact that how do you get the focus on the business objectives? Don't talk about the technology, the shiny object. How do you come to the business objectives? And if the objective is to optimize your supply chains, don't use at this point in time Gen AI, Gentic. If your objective is to understand the regulations at pace, understand the tariff changes that the man in orange is doing every day, if that's the focus area, then definitely there is a business outcome, there's a value. So invest in value-based outcomes. Most things that we see currently is that people go in with the shiny new object, do the POCs, and then we call it the POC graveyard. So in order to overcome that, if you have a business lens, especially as in if it's sustainability, how do you drive sustainability how do you understand sustainability regulations? Every day, every country is changing its sustainability regulation. Keeping abreast of it is a challenge. And we've seen as in people go foul of it because effectively containers are being stopped because there was a percentage level of plastic in the entire container that crossed the threshold. And these people did not know. So now as in you've got an OTIF problem. So the ability to pass that information, the ability to ensure compliance, I think there is value. So that's my take on this at the point.
You're clearly the man in the know to answer this one. Agentic AI is something that we're looking ahead to. We're anticipating its increasing emergence in the coming years. Just finally, are there any other sort of emerging trends that are really sort of catching your eye that we should maybe be aware of in the supply chain sustainability crossover?
So I think the multitude of things that basically coalesce to the transformation is not just one thing. So Amazon didn't happen because digital came across. Amazon happened because they went with a new business model. The Amazon happened because there was, you could do regulations, you can do basically warehouse automation at pace. So some of the trends that we see around currently in other than as in agentic is in the space of engineering. Can you reduce the time to market, compress the time to market using additive? Can you, additive manufacturing? Can you change the way you process things around in the space of design and delivery, which is what as in SpaceX is doing currently? And the next part that we see is in the area of material sciences, as in new nanomaterials that are currently being developed. Can you change the entire design of your product so you can deliver faster? So I think those are some of the trends that we see that are going to change the way we work in supply chains.
Fantastic, Nitin, that's great.